Today I'm going to be talking all about what goes on behind the scenes of a real interiors photo shoot. Now there's lots of things we do for shoots, whether it's editorial or commercial. Maybe we're shooting a real home for a newspaper. There can be lots of different things we do. But the way we run the shoot happens time and time again, and it's nearly always the same setup. At least for me, it's always the same setup before we even leave the doors. And I thought it might be useful to hear that story, and hopefully it will be entertaining. I think what I do probably sounds absolutely bonkers for some of it, but let me just run you through it from the beginning. If you're new here, let me just introduce myself. I'm Emma Morton-Turner. I'm an interior stylist and have been for over 20 years. I started off in magazines and then went freelance 14 years ago, and now I work for brands and I do commercial shoots, I do social media posts, I do videos, I do podcasts, I do blog posts, I do writing features, I do shooting features, I do all of that. And that is why I'm a really good person to share this today. So let me start off with the very beginning. My day starts very, very early. I should say not everybody's starts like this, but this is how my day starts on a photo shoot day. So the alarm goes off. I quite often will set my alarm very, very early. I might do 1 or 2 alarms because you know that feeling you get when you think, I don't want to not wake up, and you worry. So you end up having more than one alarm set. So my alarm will normally go off around 4:55. I like to get out of bed by 5, kind of think 5 minutes to wake myself up properly. I don't do anything until I've had breakfast. I am a hungry when I wake up sort of a person, and I'm not good without food. I don't think anybody is. So I will get up really, really early and make sure I have my breakfast before I do anything. I have porridge pre-mixed in a great big Tupperware tub with nuts and seeds and cinnamon, and I've got a scoop to measure it all out, so it's really quick and easy to do, and I absolutely adore it. I put blueberries in and everything. Have a big cappuccino, and then I'm ready for anything. This is how I start every day, actually. This isn't just shoot days. This is every day. I'm a real breakfast sort of person. I know a lot of people aren't. Once I've had my breakfast, it's time to play car Tetris. I think interior stylists are absolute experts in packing cars. When it comes to moving house or helping friends move house, we are really good at knowing how to get large items into small cars, or getting a lot of boxes and a lot of crates and a lot of furniture into a very small van, or even a lot of stuff into a large van. We're really good at tessellating. So once I've had my breakfast, I will load up the car. Sometimes I'll do it the night before, but I always have this fear that someone could break into the car overnight. It's probably a needless worry, but just in case, I like to know I can load up in the morning. I usually give myself around 20 minutes, 40 minutes. It depends how much I have to pack into the car. I will use every inch of space in my car. I have some really good strong boxes. They're really useful. I think it's called the Really Useful Storage Company. They do those boxes with the double walls on the side. They are fabulous because they don't break if you drop them or if you knock them. I spent years with those cheap and flimsy £5 ones that just don't last very long. They might last 6 months, whereas the ones I buy now, they very rarely break. But when you stack those up inside your car, that doesn't leave a lot of room for other things. So anything breakable will go into one of those really useful storage boxes with lids, and I'll stack them so they don't wobble as I drive. And I will also squish in anything soft like cushions and blankets. They'll go into the footwells. The car seats go down, and we literally use every single inch of space. I now pack things in, it's really funny, I've just had a thought that I pack things in shoppers, you know, those Sainsbury's shoppers that cost 50p, but they're nice and strong. Those are really good for squishing into every little corner. What I was laughing for just now is that's how I do boot sales. When I sell at boot sales, I pack everything into a bag because then I've got loads of bags to give to my customers, but also I know things will pack in really well, and that's from getting ready for shoots. I will always have an emergency pack of food because I don't like being hungry. I'm also the kind of person who likes to eat all the time. So every 2 hours or so, if I'm going to drive into London and I'm leaving at like 5:30, I do need to make sure I'm adequately fed. So I have a checklist that I need to double check before I leave, before I even start thinking about driving off the driveway. And the things that are in my checklist are my toolbox. My toolbox has my scissors, my tape, my labels. It has bits of wire, bits of ribbon, all those glasses, batteries, all the things I need. In fact, I should do a podcast or a video just on what I take in my toolbox. I think most people take the same thing. So always make sure I've got my toolbox. My toolbox is always well and truly hidden in my car. I mean, if I pack overnight, it's definitely well hidden because I don't want someone walking past and thinking, oh, nice tools. I'll nick that. They will only be happy with the one item in my toolbox that will be useful to them, and that is my pink hammer. Everything else is just useless. There's no power tools or anything in my car or my toolbox. The snacks, like I just said, I will print out all of my shoot items. So I will print out my shoot list. I will make sure I know if I've borrowed product from a prop hire. I will have all of those sheets, or the kind of the prop hire list. All of that will go on a clipboard. Now, I never use a piece of paper. I never have just a sheet of paper because it will get lost. I know some stylists use files. I use a clipboard because I quite like to lean on it and write on it, and I have a pen attached to it. But I always make sure I've got that. So I have my shoot list and my drawings. Two more things I always remember. One is a water bottle because it can be hot on shoots and it's really good to have a bottle. And I don't want people to be buying plastic bottles for obvious reasons. I will also, if it's going to be a long journey or I think I'm going to need a little bit more caffeine on the way, I might take a tea or a coffee for the journey because it takes me about 45 minutes to 50 minutes to drive on to my first stop. I will also make sure I've got the directions. Now, I use Waze. A lot of people do use Waze for getting around, and usually I will put the directions in the night before. First of all, so I can see how long it will take me to get there, but also so I don't have to go scrambling through my emails and finding bits of paper to kind of check where I'm going. I have it all ready to go. Okay, I'm going to give you a little stylist tip here. Now, I don't know if other people do this. I suspect they probably do. But the moment I pull off the drive, it's usually around maybe, well, it's before 6 o'clock, so it's still really early. The roads are really quiet. I pull off my drive and I do an emergency brake because I want everything to kind of shift and settle. It stops things from rattling. It makes sure anything that's going to move has already moved. And it just means that the drive is much smoother. I kind of know where things are likely to be if they're going to wobble. I've never had anything break, but if I did, at least I'm still at home and I can go and grab another vase, bottle, glasses, whatever I might need, plates and things, whatever I might need. But usually we pack things so well, nothing really gets broken until it starts getting unwrapped at the shoot. So the first stop, by about 6:30, I arrive at the flower market. Now, I head to the flower market because of where I live. I live in Southeast London, and if I'm going to a shoot, 9 times out of 10, it will be via the area that the flower market is in. I like to go beforehand. That way my flowers are nice and big and nice and open. If I'm worried about not having enough space, I did a shoot once for a really big furniture company, and one of the shots was just tons and tons of plants. I think I spent £500 just on plants. There was no way that was going to fit in my car along with all my other props. So I went the day before. I got my courier to come and meet me there, and I was standing outside with a trolley full of plants, and they took it away and they brought it to the shoot the next day. But 9 times out of 10, I'm just buying flowers and maybe some small plants that I always leave room on my passenger seat for, so everything else can fit in the back. Usually it's just a good bunch. So I go there because I will get out of season things. I might have ordered something, or I just have a much better variety. It's, there's summer, the blooms that are in season at any one time will be in the florist, but the flower market has so much more choice in colour, choice in type of flower. Just, it's a much more inspirational place. So I like to go there on the way into the shoot. When you do that, you have to navigate heavy trolleys. If you've got lots of stuff and you can't carry it, when you go to the flower market, and I'm talking New Covent Garden flower market in particular, you drive in and you have to park upstairs because only vans go downstairs. So if you buy lots of stuff and you need to put it on a trolley, you have to borrow that from the florist or who is in the market, wheel it upstairs in the giant lifts, get it over to your car, load all your flowers into your car, but then you have to take the trolley back down again, and it's a bit of a faff. So you've got to make sure you've got time to do that, which is why I leave so early. I normally get to the flower market at 6:30. I'm normally leaving by 7:30. That still gives me an hour and a half to get somewhere in London. Usually that's way plenty time. So I go on to the shoot. By now it's about 10 to 9. I try really hard to get to the shoot in time to unload my car, get it all into the house, and then go and take my car and park it up. Quite often you have to park around the corner. I want to make sure I'm at the location, ready for when the courier arrives and the client and the photographer. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes shoot location owners will only let you in after 9 o'clock, so in which case I'll have to wait until 9 o'clock to come in. So I will arrive and unload all the props from my car, all the flowers, all the cushions that have been squished in the footwells, everything I've got ready to get the shooting. And we will find a room that we're not going to be shooting in to get all the props out. I will then brief the set builder if there is one, where we need wallpapering, or if we need anything painting or anything building, that's when the set builder will be directed. By this time, my assistant has usually arrived and they will help me unpack my car. And then once my car's unpacked, they will help me unpack my props. At 9 o'clock, we are allowed into the location, and that's where all the controlled chaos happens. We are usually shown around the house by the homeowner. They're quite often happy to show us around, let us know any rooms that are out of bounds, like kids' rooms or offices. They'll show us where the tea and coffee is, the most important part of the day. Start your day right with second breakfast. They will also make sure we know where we can store things if we're staying a little bit longer. Sometimes you might do a 3 or 4 day shoot and need to leave things overnight. They'll let us know where everything can stay. We will then take the photographer around the shoot. So the client and the photographer and I will walk around the shoot location. We'll point out exactly what products we're going to be shooting, or where we see them being shot. And the photographer will let us know whether the light is going to be good for that shot, where we want to shoot it. So if we want to shoot at the front of the house and the light is streaming in and it's going to cause really dark shadows, they might say this will be a great shot to do at 2 o'clock. So we plan our day around that. Quite often, before we do our tour around the space with the photographer, we'll start with second breakfast. And that's where my clipboard comes in. I like to show the photographer what we're shooting. They will have been sent a brief, but they very rarely have seen the location before we get there. And they'll have an idea of what we're shooting, but they might not know in detail. So I like to talk it through. The assistant, while this is happening, will be going around taking photos of mantelpieces and side tables and bedside tables so that we know exactly where everything is. So when we move it to do our shot on the mantelpiece, we know how to put it all back again. Okay, so by now the courier has come and all of the props and products that may have been picked up by them are being unloaded, or we've unloaded them from the client's car. This is particularly a commercial shoot I think I'm sharing here. It's slightly different if it's an editorial shoot. Usually if it's an editorial shoot, everything will come on a van in one go. But other than that, it's all the same. So we're ready to start shooting. The first shot of the day nearly always takes the longest. We normally start with a rather large shot that will take the longest to set up, but then it will always take a little while to get it right. Once you've got the first shot under your belt, it just seems to flow really smoothly. I'm hoping that's the same for everyone, but that's how it is for me. You get into a bit of a rhythm. So you prep, you style, you shoot, you reset, and you just keep going. Around 10:30, 11 is when the weird and wonderful requests come in. Now I like to bring this up because actually these are the curveballs that the clients like to hit us with. Now, I could do a whole blog post, a whole podcast, a whole social media stream of the things that clients have asked us to do that are literally coming out of nowhere. Like, can we turn this into a cocktail hour? Can we turn this office setup into a kitchen setup? Can we change the colour of the walls, vase, accessories? The thing that on the shoot, you kind of think, oh, I had a great idea, but they haven't briefed us and we haven't got those props. And we then do this mad dash scrambling of the products and props that we have brought with us just in case. That's when they come in, and that is the sign of a good stylist, when they throw you this curveball and you go, no problem, I just so happened to bring a tray and I spotted some beautiful martini glasses in the cupboard over there when I was making tea. Thank goodness the location owner likes to drink martini, and we'll put this together, no problem. That is how it is pretty much every shoot. I'm going to laugh at it. Sometimes it's quite stressful. It's always very stressful. Okay, so we just improvise, we adapt, we make it work. We also keep a deadpan poker face when they say, no problem. We don't show the fear. We just say, no problem, and off we style. That is the sign of an experienced stylist. If you're an interior stylist, I want you to leave a comment below and tell me what you've been asked to do that on a shoot that was not discussed before the shoot. I bet there's a million and one. This could be really interesting. Anyway, emergency prop stash usually will avert that problem. Okay, by now, the Hunger Games is starting, the shoot edition of Hunger Games. I am not good if I am not fed, and a hangry interior stylist is never a good thing. Hence, I always bring snacks on shoots. I always make sure I have something to nibble on in the background, because if someone doesn't really do breakfast and doesn't really have lunch until 2 o'clock and they can keep going and keep going and keep going, I'm like, nope, not me. I need a snack bar, I need a protein bar or a packet of nuts or something hidden in my rucksack ready to go just to keep me going. I do like 2 breakfasts. I'm well known for my second breakfast. Okay, so in reality, lunch is usually, I call it shoot lunch. I even call it shoot lunch at home. I say to my family, come around for dinner, we're just doing shoot lunch, and it will be hummus and couscous, and it'll be smoked mackerel and cheese. On shoots, there'll be some sort of meat as well. There'll be like crisps, either kettle crisps, or there'll be Doritos, maybe a bit of salsa and a bit of guacamole. It's just a mush of everything that you could do. Oh, I tell you, the best thing, beetroot salad. Oh, love beetroot salad. So the whole thing is just spread out, and then everyone can find what they like. And if they don't eat bread, they don't have to have bread. But if they do, then they can have a bit of French stick or whatever. Big shoot lunch. Lovely. Great. That's really good. Shoot lunches are the best. But 9 times out of 10, it will be a quick meal deal dash to Tesco's, where you've got a cold sandwich that's been there the whole day, and it's just I've just got to eat. We can almost not stop. Let's just woof it down and get on, because we've got a ton of shots to do. That is quite often what will happen. So around 2:30, you are on such a roll, and you are just getting all those wins in. And it's just like a golden moment where things just are absolutely lining up. The lighting's right. The props are just beautiful. Everything's working. The client is saying, I love it. That's it. We love it. That's exactly what I had in mind. We love it. We just keep going. And that is the best bit, when you are just, it's just flowing and everything is exactly how you pictured it. And the props you chose are just, you just love, when you look at the shots, you think, yep, that's one for my portfolio. That's when you know you're just winning. You're winning the day. And I love that. I would imagine every stylist absolutely loves that moment. That is the best bit. But at one point, usually around 4:45, usually around 5 o'clock-ish, when you know the courier is going to be here in about half an hour to pick up all the props to take them away, you get into this crazy moment where the client decides they want to do an extra shot, or they found a product that just looks so nice in the flesh and they haven't seen it yet, and it came straight to the shoot and they've got to get a detail of it, but we're running out of time. And you go into this crazy snap, snap, snap. And whereas it took maybe an hour to get the first shot set up, now you are just going, right, let's just put this here and throw this prop in, and this glass and this vase and this there, and the backdrop here and the plants and the flowers. And okay, let's do this one. Let's get another one in quick. You have this kind of craziness. I love those craziness. I think the best ideas come when you've got that, come, let's go, go, go. That's the best bit. I love it. You've got the photographer and the assistant kind of getting the reflectors up. Everyone's like desperately hungry for a 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock coffee that hasn't happened, but they're running on adrenaline. It's really good. And there'll be a point where you have to style a throw. Now, it's a known fact. If you have to style a throw, whether it's on a sofa or an armchair or a bed, make sure you get the shot at the very beginning. However you set it up at the very beginning, take that shot. Because no matter how much you tweak it, no matter how much you rethrow it, you restyle it, because we all do it, it will always look the best in the very first shot. So make sure you get a good picture with a good bracket of light so that you know you've got it, because nothing is going to beat that first shot. This is a super stylist tip. Okay, so the courier is coming any minute to pick up all the props that you need to have packed up, put away, make sure all the labels are in the right place. You need to make sure the set builder is already returning the wall to white, or removing any of the wallpaper, which they've stuck on with very special low-tack glue so it can be removed and the wall can just be washed. You need to make sure everything has very clear labels on so that the props go back to the prop house and the products go back to the client. And then you need to make sure your kit is all packed back up as well. So the very last thing that we need to do is make sure the location looks exactly the same when we leave as it did when we arrived. So we need to make sure that all of the trinkets and the frames and the pictures and the ornaments are all exactly where they were when we arrived. And that's when we use the pictures that the assistant took at the very beginning. Now, quite often we might set up a WhatsApp group, so just for the shoot, so I can see the pictures that the assistant took and we can both work on different areas at the same time, get it all sorted. Okay, by now it's 6 o'clock. Now, most shoot locations, the timings are you're available or you can use them from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And the moment you go over 6 p.m., you get charged an absolute fortune for going overtime. So we are absolutely on it. We get out at 6 o'clock. We do not want to pay any more than we've already paid. We do a final room check before, so all of this happens before 6 o'clock. We do a room check to make sure everything's gone back to where it should be. We make sure there are no props, nothing's kind of rolled underneath a bed or a sofa. We make sure there's no food left in the fridge unless we say to the homeowner, oh, we've left you some cheese or some beetroot salad. We just make sure everything is really, really spick and span. We will vacuum, we will mop if we need to. We just don't want the homeowner to be upset when we come back, because we're very respectful and very conscious that we are in someone's home. This is where they live. So we need to make sure that we are conscious and we are respectful in that respect. We are respectful in that respect. Then we say goodbye, and I say exactly the same thing every single time. I say to the homeowner, thank you so much. Your house has been such a pleasure to shoot in. I hope we've left everything where we found it. And they always say, don't worry, it's not a problem, which loosely translated means get out. You've been in my house all day and I want it back. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Off you go. Let me shut the door as you go. Goodbye. That is what happens. Okay, and then 7:30, get home, collapse. You've got a car full of your own props. So all my props go back into my car. All the product and all the prop hire goes into the van, and that goes off in one direction. But I have to put away all the props that are in my car, which I have to admit, at the end of the day, it doesn't happen very often. Once the shoot's over, I'm like, oh, I'm going to come to this fresh tomorrow, because the sofa and dinner are calling me. Have I just made a whole podcast about how a shoot revolves around food? Haven't I? My whole world revolves around food. Oh, the thing is, what I like to do is pull all my props out into the kitchen, unload everything, because some things will come from my home, some things will be stored in the garage, some things will be stored in the loft. I don't want to do that at the end of the day, but at the same time, I like to kind of finish the day, because the shoot is finished and I'm finished. The only thing I need to do is my invoice. I kind of don't want to come back to props. I want to come back to a clean car and a clean table. Anyway, answers on a postcard to what you do at the end of your shoot. But yeah, so that's it really. That's pretty typical of a shoot, a commercial shoot. It's quite intense, but they are pretty fabulous. It's just the creativity and the buzz on a shoot is absolutely brilliant. It's the best part of the job. You spend so long planning and prepping and doing drawings and propping and kind of going around all the different places, finding the perfect props to make sure that the vision comes to life. And it's just really fabulous. So I hope that's answered any questions you have about photo shoots. If you have any more questions, then do drop me a message below, leave a comment below. And if you have any stories from a day in the life of your photo shoots, I would love you to share your stories below. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. This has been a fun a fun walk down memory lane on the hottest day of the year again. Bye for now.